Hey guys, what's up? My name is Ramsey Nouah, Nollywood actor, and you're tuned in on Boom Bars. Don't touch that dial. I love you guys. Shalom. No, they say when you do this, it's supposed to be like that. So sorry.
And we're back with another episode of the Convo. Today, our guest is the lover boy of Nollywood, the legend himself, Ramsey Nouah. He's in the building and he's talking about living in bondage, that lover boy era, how he started. There's a lot of conversation about the movie industry and also the music industry. Surprisingly, Ramsey had a lot to say about the music industry, so don't go anywhere. This is the Convo.
This is this thing about the music industry and then the film industry. It's almost together, but I realize that the music guys are actually more crazier than than the film guys. Because the film needs a lot of intensity than music. So you can have, with music guys, they're more free. Like they are free in the sense that to bring out the art in them is just like this, and it doesn't require any intensity of whatever sort. So they could just go and sing. They need to be in the spirit sometimes. You know, it could be, I don't know what kind of high, but different kind of highs to get them in that realm where they can now bring out the best in them. But in film, it's rare. Most times when they go to the high, they don't come back. And you don't need high for film, particularly.
You don't?
No.
How do you now get into character?
Okay, that's something most times it's either inborn or you learn it. But anyhow it is, you need to learn, perfect the art of being an actor or filmmaker, you know, while in the job. Everybody perfects it. Even if it's inborn, you still need to fine tune and, you know, chisel out the rough edges so you come out smooth. But you see, that's the difference. You see, so basically for you to come out smooth and all of that, I doubt there are very, very few fraction of anybody who would need height to want to get to that, because you need total focus. You need total, for instance, I asked you now to, let me think of it. Okay, let me ask, for instance, if I asked you as an actor to play the character Mugabe, and you know that man he's unique in his style of delivery, in his thinking, his mannerisms. You definitely can't get high to get that. You need to adopt, you need to learn it, you need to perfect it to see how it does it. Some people, it comes easy for them. You can pick people's voices who know how to speak like others, their accent, pick it up very, very well. That's natural, that's normal. That's still like music. But when it's film, when it's intensity, and you have to do like a feature film, where the character has what you have called continuity, and you need to sustain that character all through the film. Sometimes shooting some of those films take up to the tune of a month, 2, 3 months, 6 months sometimes. And you need to be that character which is not your life. So imagine you having to stick to that character for like 2, 3 months, 6 months. Yeah, it needs intensity, yeah.
How come this was the life you chose? I mean, you've been a staple of Nigerian entertainment culture for the last 30 years.
It was more of, I don't know, in the beginning actually, I used to think that I could sing. And yes, I went to, I can remember very vividly at the time, I went to Clink Studio, Saking Steel Goro, that you very well know. And I went to check, okay, like if you could do, myself and my friend at the time, he was also a singer. And I said, we should try and do something. And then they gave us a bill. Okay, let me give you an idea or an insight to what the bill was. The bill was like, let's assume that whatever pocket money we have is 1,000 naira. The bill at the time was like 1 million naira to that 1,000 that we had. Like whatever. So it was such a huge margin. And that deflated us. And so we went into film. And film just kicked off at the time. It's like 1990. So 1990, we hustled it. 1991, I did, we shot the pilot episode of Fortunes. Came on air on Nigerian Television Authority 1993. Lasted for just 1 year. to 1994. And then came the advent of Nollywood, home video as a matter of fact, home video. And been a roller coaster ride since then. Of course, there's been some ups and downs, as you very well know. It was a high point for Nollywood at some point. And Nollywood was very much there and strong. The music industry was still kings, like you could have kings and queens, there were very few of them because at the time it was like pretty expensive to wax records at the time. And you had very few singers. But when the digital age now came up and then people started doing things, the advent of Daddy Shoki, the advent of Plantation Boys, just took over, and before you knew it, the music industry came at about in the 2000s and all, and then turned things around too.
For your film Living in Bondage, great film by the way, you worked with Larry Gaga on producing the soundtrack for the film, album. How did that happen?
Okay, let me give kudos to the guy who made that happen. That's Charles Okpeleke, who happens to be the executive producer of the film Living in Bondage and a partner of mine. So Charles is just this kind of crazy guy who, when he feels something, he loves something, he's a go-getter, he goes for it. Headlong, he doesn't care if he crashes. He doesn't think about the crashing. He just thinks that the drive is all that matters to him. He likes it, he wants it, he doesn't care what the end result is going to be, he's going headlong. And I like him for that. So he spoke to Larry Gaga, and then we now had, which was first of its kind as a matter of fact, where soundtrack was made for a film, and it worked. It worked very, very well, and I was really happy about it, because that now brought a very strong unison between the film and the music industry. As a starting point, it was a starting point. So now I can confidently say that, okay, I've been able to go through that open gate between music and film. So if I want to do my next film, I know how to go about it, getting soundtracks and things done properly.
How important is it to get the song that fits perfectly into a scene?
Oh wow, it's very, very important. But it's hard to determine. It's hard to determine. The only person who can make that happen is a director who actually works with the producers, the song producers, to let them know the flow, because the flow of the scene determines what you play on, what kind of music you gotta play on. You can't have a romantic, erotic scene and you and you're playing Akbala or something. It's just gonna be like a disconnect will be there. So you need to understand the entire flow. So most directors, sometimes when they're writing the story or they're in a workshop with these writers, they start to flow with the character, they start to let you know. That's why most of them don't necessarily have to go and create. Some of them look at already established songs and then fits the scene into it. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if you've seen the movie Baby Driver. You can see that the director was mostly like song. It's a song-driven kind of film, So the scenarios and everything had to flow with the songs. And some of those tracks were already done. He used them, and then he created some. So that's the way it's done. It has to be from the very beginning of your creation of the story, the character, and all of that.
People in the music industry often complain about, movie producers using songs without getting proper licensing or permission or consent from the artist. Why is this thing?
It's still a big problem. I mean, we're in the age right now where, of course, where everyone has a right to IP. You understand what I'm saying? You don't take the IP from anybody, because the way it's going right now, a lot of people who are there who've not matured would just be lost, because you took their IPs, you take their intellectual property without compensating them for whatever reason. Now, some of us did. And it was more like, it's a burgeoning industry, but the film and the music industry. And the music is doing far, far better than the film industry, you know, in every way. So it was more like, okay, some of these producers are just thinking, how do I get support from my fellow entertainers? You get what I'm saying? How do I get support? So sometimes they just take these songs without even asking permission, because all they would have taken is like, even some of these song owners, all they ask is just, you know, not even a permission to ask me that I want to use this stuff. You know, it's almost like a disregard, which is quite true, you know. And it's very important that these things are being in place. And right now there are laws protecting these IPs, you understand? So right now you just don't go pick people's songs because otherwise they come at you legally, they can come at you, you know. And that happens, yeah, it does happen.
Word on the street is that you're a huge Kizz Daniel fan. How true is this?
On the streets? Wow. Goldfish, no hiding place. Yes, I am. For me, I think as you move on in life, you find the tune that just sits well with you. You get what I'm saying? Everyone's got a preference, and Kizz just happened to be my preference, where I love him. But it doesn't mean that I like, you know, it's just that his style syncs very well with me, you know. I like him. He doesn't do too much talking on his beats. He's a more melodious kind of, you know, artist, and he doesn't rant too much. He lets the beats breathe. He doesn't crowd his beats. You get what I'm saying? And that's what I love about his style.
He can give and take away, but every day now for give away. Baba say make a day happy, he make a day happy, yeah, yeah, yeah. Jao, jao, yes, jao, jao, baby DJ, oh, baby DJ.
I don't know his persona, to be honest. I've never met with Kizz, but I hear that he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Maybe that. But that's not the. I mean, I love Rotimi when he did rhythm. You know, I love music. I love my style. But we all have this style that we like. You get what I'm saying? I'm an R&B kind of guy, you know, and he made R&B in our local. I'm talking about Kizz now, in a local way. Even when Rotimi did that with a song, it was really, really cool. I love the fact that you can make our dialects have rhythm, melody, and you enjoy it, you know. And that's what I really love. The likes of Tubaba, Two-Face, he also does the same. All the top P-Square, you name them, they all do it for me. I'm a freak for local content. So I'm an Olamide, don't even go with nice. I'm a nice fanatic. You can call me like nice fanatic. I'm a Fido fanatic, Flavor, all of them that do local content and make it and give it some what we grew up with. If you notice that we were more of a 90s kind of guy. 90s was R&B a whole lot, hip hop and everything, and that's our upbringing. And then now we can do our dialect, our language, and still have the same beats. I think that's just my upbringing, and that's what's made me lock down.
Back in the 90s, you were usually typecasted as, you know, lover boy. That's what we associated you with, lover boy. People like Kana, we associated him with evil doer, you know, blood money, you know. And now things have changed. You play diverse roles these days. Was it difficult for you to transition from, you know, being the guy that always played the lover boy to being the guy that now plays diverse role? Was the transition difficult?
Entertainment. Nobody likes a stereotype. You get what I'm saying? A stereotype in the sense that, yeah, you have a genre, you have a brand, you have, you know, the style, you know, you have a style, but I don't mean that the style is like monotonous, like constant. You know, there has to be an undulating way of entertainment so that people can see the other side of your versatility as an artist, as a performing artist. So, yes, the fact that there was a transition or like a growth into other part of my career as an actor, where you can see the different other sides of me, was very key. I knew I was going to get there at some point, you know. I knew at some point the low lover boy quote thing was saturated already, and there's need for people to see other things that you can do. Hence, in Living in Bondage, so many of them was like, okay, they didn't see that in Ramsey. They didn't see me being that antagonist and that evil. I wasn't that evil, was I? I was. I tried to tone it down. I tried to, make it seem like, not a sinister. It was just like playful sinister. And people still complain. I had some people telling me like, oh my God, they were scared to even shake me after the whole watching the movies. Like they were scared that I was going to do something to them. Like, wow. Anyways.
So, what was it like working with legends like Kenneth Okonkwo and Kanayo on, the Living in Bondage sequel?
It was very, very good because I've not worked with these personalities for a very long time. As a matter of fact, if I remember clearly, I think my last time I ever did anything with those guys was in early 2000. So imagine the time loss between then and now. And then, of course, bringing them back was it was sort of like, for me, there was a euphoria that, oh my God, I'm back with this, my, big old uncles and, colleagues of mine, senior colleagues of mine. And it was really, really cool, to be there. And yes, I didn't even do so much getting them into character because this was character that they already had. So telling them how to go about it, it wasn't that I was trying to change their character as a director, telling them, okay, no, I don't want that kind of direction of characterization anymore. I want to differentiate it a little. No, there wasn't anything extra to do with them. So they just came and played themselves. So we're just having fun on set.
Will there be another installment?
A lot of people are calling for that. And yes, we're thinking about it. And Charles, my partner, he's a freak when it comes to things like that. Make demands, just tell him that that's the way to go and he's ready to go. So yes, we're contemplating another sequel.
Throwing it back to the early 2000s, you and a bunch of other people were pretty much banned from the industry. It's being referred to as the G8 ban. Do you remember that scenario? What led to it and what that was like?
I think it was 2006, thereabout. And the marketers at the time felt that they just came to a conclusion that I think they wanted control. They wanted a situation where they could control. They said they felt that they were creating the stars and the stars were growing too big out of their shoes. And they wanted some form of control, to throw a blanket over the industry. And they felt the blacklist would do them the honors. Unfortunately, it backfired, They had a blacklist, no doubt, and then, but it created a new industry, created a new front for other axes of marketing the film came through. Like for instance, the cinema. That was immediately after that. The cinema advent came in, and then other online platforms started to, cables, all of that. So there was alternative markets to theirs, and they didn't see that coming. So that took a toll on them.
People are wondering if we're going to get Living in Bondage on online platforms like Netflix, Roku TV.
We're working towards it, actually. We really are working towards it because as you very well know, you got 11 nominations at the AMVCA, and yes, it's a whole lot that went down making the movie, and we're struggling. We content makers are struggling in trying to make a quality job. How do you bag in the money invested in? It's always a problem. Most times we're just living by the day. Everybody wants quality. You know why? Because they're used to seeing quality. They're used to seeing Hollywood. So they're thinking if you want to do local content, you should be within the bracket at least. Don't give them anything appalling to the eye. Don't tell a story that seems to, tend to make them feel like they're stupid. But in doing all those things, it's quite capital intensive, and most content makers are finding it difficult to cut even when that happens. So we are at that verge where we start to think, what do we then do? Because it's almost as if we're being subjected to just doing poor quality production. That's just what it's getting to right now. And yes, we're trying to look for other platforms like Netflix and everything. But it now depends on, would it financially benefit the investors and all of that stuff? So those are the little clauses that we need to look into. But of course, in the end, it will definitely come online.
The nominees for the AMVCAs have been announced, and you go for 4 nominations. How does that make you feel?
It feels really good. I feel exhilarated about it. It's a great. I'm super honored to have gotten as much nominations. I don't know if I should say my head is swell, kind of thing.
Do you get nervous when it's award season?
No, not really. Not for me. No, I don't. I'm an easygoing fella. I'm not the kind of person who thinks that I must get something, and because of that I'll go all out. I'm not very competitive in nature. No, I'm not. I'm just easy. Yeah, I have this. My policy is that the sky is big enough for virtually every bird to fly, and your time will come. When it will come, it will come. It's not like Olympics, 100 meters. Who's the first to get there? No. It's not like Nigeria's got talent, British got talent. Who? No, for me, all of that, we've passed it. Now we're just on the work front. You do your thing as best as you can. I do mine as best as I can. At some point, somebody will have to win something at some point. You get what I'm saying? Just be good at what you do. Bottom line, the rest will flow.